All right. Let me quickly share my screen again. Let me just go through the frequently asked questions. How long is the program? Like I said, it's 3 to 6 months. Do I need to be an expert to register? No. That's why you're here. What if a team member drops out? So I was hoping someone would ask me this question, but I didn't get it. What if a team member drops out? Yeah. So you can start your team with just 3 members, with 4 members, with 5 members. In fact, when you start, you might not have all the skill sets you need. For example, you might not have a UI UX designer or a digital marketer or a developer. However, you can always bring in a new team member. You can always invite a new team member. It could be your friend, it could be a connection you know that has the particular skill set you need in your team. All right. But you must agree as a team to bring in that particular person. Right. We've had some teams in the past that would conduct interviews to bring in new team members. All right. So you guys can decide how you want to do that. But please let us know whenever you want to bring in a new team member. The new team member can join Labs by Bincom officially or join Labs by Bincom just with your team, not necessarily join us officially, just join your team and work with your team. Whatever arrangements you have with the person is between your team and the person. But if the person wants to join Labs by Bincom officially, please inform us. We'd love to know. But whatever way the person wants to join, either wants to join us officially or just work with your team, right? Let us know, all right? And you guys can decide that. We have a community of tech professionals you can always reach out to for volunteers, all right? And also, I mean, as a tech professional, networking is very, very important. So we expect you to network with people from different career tracks, and you can always invite them to join your team at any point in time. But one thing is, your team will decide on who to bring in, when to bring the person, and also let us know. Can I make the startup part of my work experience? Yes. Can be included in your portfolio or your CV. How will I include information about my startup in my portfolio? Since it is a public domain, definitely. I mean, we're standing as a referee for you. There's a digital track of it or digital footprint of your product online, either a social media, website, or the app itself, whatever that is. What happens after 6 months program? After 6 months, you can do what you wish with your product. You can enter the Bincom incubator program. When you get to that bridge, you know the criteria, or enter any other incubator program, or decide to walk away from the product or the startup itself, right? Or just decide to close up, right? It is, but whichever way, after 6 months, we will dissolve the team officially in Labs. After 6 months, we will dissolve the team. You guys can then continue being team members or co-founders and continue building. It's up to you. Can it be realized as a school internship? Yes, just let us know if that's the case. I don't know anything about startup building. That's why you are here. Who will fund the project? Whatever, the budget cannot be more than £350 if at all you are spending a dime. All right, but the team will be funding it. What if you want to spend more than that? You can't. Save your money for an incubator program or an accelerator program. Can we upgrade our startup to an incubator level? Yes, provided you meet the criteria, which will let you know when you get to that point. All right. I believe there are no more questions, or do you have any questions based on this FAQs I've gone through? Please let me know. Are there questions? If there are no questions, just say no questions.
For now, no questions. But what if I have say follow-up questions after the call? Is there a way to, or probably via WhatsApp or something?
So you can, no problem. You can always, there's an email that has been, I'm sure you must have been receiving email, right? You can always send your questions to that email. It will be promptly responded to.
Okay, and then this link you shared now, that was on the last slide, the one for the Ideas Bank, is it something you can share with us so that we can put it?
Yes, so once your team is formed, right, it's something we actually share. Yes, you can go through it for ideas. right, that you can research on.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, sorry, sorry, one last question. Don't be offended. So,
All right.
again, must the idea be something that is for the public good? Be, because I've heard before, I think 2023, the first time I got in touch with Bincom, I did hear then that it has to be an idea that, or like the product idea should be a product that would be for public good. So the interest or the purpose of the product would be something that would say maybe a health product or something that anybody else could use or something for
Okay.
accessing. So is that still the case, or is it something that for like build, say, a fintech app or what have you?
All right, so the goal is to build a product-led digital technology. It could be in any niche. It could be in health tech, it could be in health, it could be in finance, it could be in education, it could be in any sector. Right. So far it's product-led, it doesn't matter. It could be in marketing, it could be
All right, thanks.
communication. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I would like to ask a question. Yeah, he
Ayomide.
said after the 6 months program, right? That we'll be able to do whatever we want with the idea we've created, the project we've worked on. I feel or think that this might cause like an issue if the teammates are having like misunderstanding on what they want to do with the project. So how will be sorry, how would you guys come in to like set the part where everybody knows that this is what we are going to do? Because I feel like in case like if someone wants to like maybe our idea now, I want like as a Nigerian now, I want to like take it to a company in Nigeria to ask for funding, or another person in another country wants to take it to another place to ask for funding. You see that like there's a diversity there. So how are we going to be how are we going to be able to like settle it and make sure that yes, we are working together to like bring this project to life? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
All right. So I have two answers to your question. All right. So the first answer is the fact that um, in any setting, workplace, company, either your colleagues at work, whatever, or your co-founders in this case, there will always be situations where there are conflicts that needs to be resolved. So focus on the last part that needs to be resolved. So from the onset, that's why it's important as a team, you have a product document, you know your target market, right? So as much as possible, plan everything out from your product. However, there are instances where a lot of things will crop up, all right? A team member feels we should go this direction. You guys would need to find a way to be on the same page. After your 6 months, there's little or nothing we can do to control what happens. You guys would have to work as adults and as professionals in your team. All right. Now, the second answer to that question is in the curriculum. Right. There's part of the curriculum that handles team building, working as a team. So please go through that. It will expatiate on some of the things I just said to answer your question. Was I able to shed a bit of light to what you just?
Yes. Okay, I also have another question.
All right. One last
So
question.
the team members, are they going to consist of like product designers, developers, researchers, or like how are you going to group the team?
All
That's my
right.
question.
So typically in fact, most likely you don't usually have, when I mean most likely, maybe 90% of the time, you don't have all the skill sets you need in your team. Like I said earlier on, you can always bring in a new team member. For instance, your team is lacking a digital marketer. You know you are currently building. You've been maybe 3 weeks into the product and you are currently building. You know you need a digital marketer to push your product and you don't have anybody with marketing skills. You can do two things. Either somebody in the team picks up the interest in marketing. In fact, as a co-founder, you are the chief marketer of your product. But anyways, either one of you picks an interest in marketing and goes through a marketing course or becomes a digital marketer, all right? Or you start looking for a volunteer or a team member or a co-founder, the choice is yours, that will join your team to handle the marketing aspect, right? Earlier, so the point is, look at the current team members you have, look at the product or project you are going to work on. Then based on that, you start planning ahead. If you know you need a UI/UX designer for this app you are building, immediately from the ideation stage, you start looking for UI/UX designers, either your friends or a group of techies you know, whatever. We have a community of techies, we can always push out your request and they can come in to volunteer if they buy into your idea. All right. But the point is, start networking now. Look at your team, look at the project, and envisage what you will need in the future. Did I answer your question?
Okay, so you are saying that you can go outside Bincom to find people.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And
But
also,
again, like I said, we have a community of techies. We have various come on Slack, on Telegram. You can always send us probably your request, or we need is XYZ. We can put it on those platforms, and anybody who applies or is interested can reach out to us and we'll let you know. Or you can bring in anybody, any outsider. It doesn't have to be Bincom. However, as a team, you must agree on whoever you are bringing in, one. And two, you need to let us know. All right, on your Slack channel, oh, we are bringing in a new team member. These are the details of the new team member. And this is what the team member will be doing in terms of building the startup. We would have to know about that. Or you can bring in anybody.
okay, thank you very much. I have one more question, sorry. What does Bincom have to gain from this whole project and process that is set up?
Okay, so one of the goals of Bincom as a whole is to build techies, right? To become a platform where tech professionals can, on whatever level, whatever stage, you are the beginner stage, intermediate stage, and even the expert stage, you can come into Bincom to learn one or two things. So we have different programs. In fact, many of our mentors, if not all of our mentors, are volunteers who are freely volunteered their time to be part of Bincom. All right, to mentor individuals or teams in labs like Bincom. So the point is, our goal is to train tech professionals. We also have other paid programs, all right, that are related to labs like Bincom or not. All right, but that's basically the goal of Bincom as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Okay, so we spent so much time in this session.
Someone
right?
sent
So we
a message in the chat.
For now. What did you say?
I said someone sent a message in the chat box. You can check it.
Okay, will the startup, okay, let me ask them. Will the startup be patent on Bincom on the participant team name? All right, so why in labs like Bincom, there's no patent, there's no registration of the startup. But after 6 months, after you are done with labs like Bincom, you are done with your product building. In fact, if you are done before 6 months, that's fine. You can leave and patent your product in your team name. But while you are in labs like Bincom, within the 3 to 6 months, you cannot patent. Neither are we patenting it in our name. Do you understand? But you cannot patent it. But after the 6 months, you can patent it. Did I answer your question, Snap? Please let me know.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I have the another question. Like,
okay.
It's about the scholarship. Like, how we can get the scholarship and how much scholarship we can get maximum. Like, if you want to join this startup, so how much? Sorry.
All right.
So how much the max amount, or what is the minimum amount we need to pay to get started with this process?
All right. So like I said initially, there are 3 ways to enter labs like Bincom. One, via the paid process, like I shared earlier on, which is £750, right? Then some of us here will be offered scholarship, all right? Then we have an option of coming in through some of our other programs, all right? Some of our other programs, right? Yeah, so that also answers your question, Ayomide, right? So we have other programs, partner programs that we bring in that send names of participants that we then, bring in, all right? But for the paid aspect of it, it's £750, right? However, there are some of us, depending on how you came into the program, you'll be offered scholarship. Like I said, emails will be sent out to everybody, depending on what stage you are. Did I answer your question?
No, but
Okay.
like I didn't get how we can get the scholarship. Like, is it anything we need to submit, or is it anything we need to do to get a scholarship? Like, how
An
much
email,
scholarship?
an email will be sent to you with the details.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. The scholarship is total free, so you don't get to pay any. If you are picked for scholarship, you don't get to pay.
Sorry, lest I forget. Just one question. How do you, select the team? Is it for us to choose by ourselves as in the what makes up, or you randomly just pick us and then you get to work with
We'll randomly, but many of you on this call will most likely be on the same team. But usually, when we get a larger class of these, randomly choose.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Quickly, been a lot of questions today, right? So we'll be moving quickly to the next aspects of today's call. We have our facilitator, who is also a mentor in labs by Bincom, in Bincom as a whole, right? The person of Mr. Mudiaga Ogboro is with us already. He'll be taking a session. He's a senior product manager, is a product owner, growth strategist, right? Name it, right? Name it when it comes to startup building, the B2B, B2C space. So I would like to invite Mr. Moody. Mr. Moody, are you with us?
Yes. I'm here. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mr. Moody. Yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Fantastic. My internet has been experiencing a bit of delay today, so just in case it goes slow at some point, pardon me. We're struggling with internet. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I've been on the call. I like the interactive nature of our conversation so far, right? And I employ and I encourage everybody to, keep that energy. Let's interact. Let's ask as many questions as possible. It will help us refine our thoughts. It will help us also position our idea for success. All right. Thank you. My name is Moody. I'm a product lead. I build products for a living. I'm always talking products, right? Generally speaking, right? So if you on this session, we're going to be talking about how to build a product, right? And I expect us to have questions and also expect us to contribute. So if you can use the chat, I know I joined early, I joined late, right? So I didn't meet everybody. So if you can use the chat to just drop, your name and what you do, right? Let's connect. It's a community. No, it's a community that we're building at the end of the day. So it's good to know each other. One of the reasons why I asked for this and one of the reasons why I encourage this is that you might meet your co-founder on this call. You might meet a business partner on this call. You might meet someone that has the answer to the question you have been asking on this call. So take the opportunity, whether virtual or online or real time, to meet people. Take the opportunity to introduce yourself. Just have a short elevator pitch about yourself. My name is Moody. I build products for talent mobility, and we can, it's as simple as that. And somebody can take it off from there to say, okay, what is talent mobility? And we can find common path that we can work on together. So use the chat room because I like to also have a feel of the people I'm speaking with. Right. So if you're on this call, you might have built a product, you might have used the product before now. I think everybody here is using the product at the moment. We're all using Zoom. Zoom is a product that was built, right? Our phones have multiple products, digital products, right? We also have non-digital products. Almost every other thing we use is a product. Right. The keyboard is a product. The microphone is a product. right? So when we're talking about products, yes, we're talking about digital product here, but it's the same principle that applies. Basically, we're trying to solve a problem for a group of people or for a large set of people or for even a small set. So we can build internal products that just solves applications, administrative duty, product like CRMs that just help you move file, SharePoint that help you move file from point A to point B, or share files with people within the same intranet. Or we can build external products, like the Ubers, that everybody tend to use to navigate through their everyday life cycle. So products, there's no box, everybody try to define products, but and try to put it in their own box. But product has no box. Product is simply defined by the problem statement. What problem are you seeing? What problem are you observing? And how are you seeing it? Are you seeing it as something you can solve? Or are you just looking at, okay, this is the problem, it's not my business, right? And some people create problem and create a solution, right? So for example, the problem Uber was solving, or Uber is solving, was it really a problem by the time they got into the market? Because we've had taxis, right? We've had taxis, we've had transport systems, right? So how come within that niche that looks saturated, every city you go, you see a yellow cab or a black cab or unbranded cab? So was there really a problem that Uber actually came to solve? Right. That is left for conjecture. People will say, yes, there was a problem of convenience, right? So are they making all this money they are making just because they solved the problem of convenience, right? But definitely there was a pain point. Whether we call it a problem or not, it was a pain point. People wanted to be able to request for cabs from the comfort of their home without walking a mile or two to the closest taxi point. People wanted to be discreet in their navigation and just wanted to move around without, the complexity of is not from here or is it from here, and Uber sort of created a platform that removed some of those bottlenecks and those pain points, right? Even though there was a solution in terms of regular cabs, Uber was able to create a market out of that. Right. So we have to look at even things that we think are not problematic, or it's not just if you look closely, you'll find that there's a bottleneck that can be straightened out. There's a process that can be made simpler. Right. And that's why we keep having versions of the same product or a new product introduced into the market to solve a problem that we thought we already solved. All right. So I'm laying this foundation because you guys are going to be building products. And one of the things you have to do is to take out misconception and all the bottleneck and just think freely. Because once there's a problem or there's a pain point, you can solve for that pain point. Right. What is Apple 16 solving, or what is Apple 14 solving that Apple 13 in terms of the phone hasn't solved? Right. They're just improving the product. They'll tell you picture quality, they'll tell you speed of the product. They're just improving the product. So think about that when you are, building a product or when you come together to build a product. And some of us here are going to become, co-founders or founders of businesses, and you're going to build different products. So you have to always have that at the back of your mind. The golden question for product development is the question why, right? Why are we spending time on this call? Why are we building what we are building? Why is this feature important? That's the golden question. Every product manager wakes up every day answering that question why. That's what keeps us in business. The day we cannot answer that question why anymore, we are shipped out, right? Why do we need to do what we need to do, right? We're not concerned about the how, right? We are mostly concerned about the why, because the how is a combination of dev teams and product team coming together to create how we're going to build it. For a product manager, we're concerned about why are we building it? Who are we building it for, and when are we building it? Those 3 W's are very important. Why are we building what we're building is the golden question. Once you find the why will tell you who is it for most of the time, and who will tell you the when does this person need it, right? If you're building let's take an example. If you are building, a school bag, a backpack for students, because you don't want them to carry their notebooks in their hands. So why are you building it? You want to solve the problem of them carrying their notebook from the house to the classroom, or for their dormitory to their classroom, without making a mess of it. So that's why you're building it. Who is it for? It's for students. When are you building it? You want to build it now for students that are in JSS1, to JSS3 or to SS3, or from high school, whatever the climate you're in, right? Student from high school or student from college, right? So that defines the when, but the why is the golden question. So we're going to be answering that question when we get into our cohort. Why are we building what we're building? Why is this? One of the things I advise is that shortlist as many ideas as possible, or you can do it the other way, shortlist as many problems as possible, then solve which of those problems has a larger audience experiencing these pain points. Because you can solve like I said, you can solve a problem for an internal system, a small group of people. Maybe your company, you just want to solve an administrative problem. You can just say, okay, let's use this product to do registration, right? It's just for a small group of people, right? You're not intending to make a lot of money. Or you can solve a problem for Africa or for Europe, something that is peculiar to those regions, or for Asia or for America. Or you can solve a problem that has a global presence, right? And you can find that everywhere in the world, right? So there are problems in the shipping industry. Shipping business is a global business because they move from one continent to the other. Transportation business, they move from one place to the other. Healthcare, we're all humans. We take the same kind of drugs, right? So you can build a healthcare product that, people can use. Accommodation, housing is a global problem. We're all, wherever you live on any part of the world, you are going to be confronted with shortage of accommodation at one point or the other. So accommodation is a global problem, that's why we have Airbnbs, hotels.ng, all trying to solve for that problem. It's a global problem, right? But we can also narrow those problems, narrow it down to a specific geography to say we want to build for this geography because this geography experience this problem. So for example, in the UK, for example, they have something called the NHS, right, that makes medicine sort of accessible to members of the British community, right? But in communities outside, like in America, they don't have the NHS, right? So they don't have the NHS, right? So they don't have access to healthcare is not free for majority of people that live in America, right? So they have to now pay for healthcare from the counter, cash, everywhere they go for their healthcare services. So you can actually solve for healthcare problems for the American context, right? Former President Barack Obama was trying to create one, I think they call it Obamacare, and there was no Obamacare in Japan. Obamacare was not going to be, it's a product, it was not going to be in Dubai, but it was just for the American conversation, right? So, right, and things like that. But you can also build a product for a geography and expand it across border because you find common purpose, product like, Facebook was built for students in Harvard, but scaled to the United States, schools across the United States. They scaled across major economy, and now it's global. We have 2 billion people on the product, and many of us don't even see it as a product anymore because we just log in, and reach out to people we need to reach out to, but that's a product. So you can scale. So that comes to my second point, after asking, why am I building this, right? You have to also look at scale. Who is this product for? And how is this scalable, right? Am I just solving for Portugal, or am I solving for Europe? Can I scale this through Europe? Am I solving for Japan, or am I solving for the whole of Asia? Can I scale this through Japan or through the whole of Asia? Am I solving for a teenager, right? That's what we now bring what we call customer lifetime value. Or am I solving for a teenager that will become an adult, that will become a dad, that will become a grandfather? So am I solving, for this demography of people? There are products that are for age 1 to age 5 people or children. There are products that, people from age 20 to 70, 80 can interact with. Right. So we need to look at those nuances. All right. We have a structured, just to give a guide, because one of the things about product management, hi Ayomide, product designer, Shanshak, hope I pronounce your name correctly. Hi, technical support and MSc in DevOps. Fantastic. Right. Good to have you guys in the room, and feel free to use the chat also to ask questions as I'm tagging along. Right. One of the things, we try to put things in structure, in the structured format here at the Bincom ecosystem, so that you can track, you can go back, you can follow up. So there are different products, how to build the products, where to build the product, books, materials online. But I'm going to be using the YC recommended model, because YC is called Y Combinator. They are an accelerator program. They've built some of the leading global products in the world today. They've incubated those products. They've invested in a lot of startup products that have become global products today. And they came together and created a material that you can use in your building days. I think it's on startupschool.com. Admin, can you give me a right to just share my screen briefly?
All right. I'll do that now.
Yeah, so they put that together, that structure together, to allow you, just to guide you. It's not cast in stone, but it's just a guide, if we could say, that gives you what you should be looking at when building a product, informations that you should be looking at when building products. So if you go to, do let me know when you can see my screen. If you go to startupschool.com, you'll find it, and I'm sure we will also share with you links to platforms that you can use also while you are on the platform. All right. All right, again, this is a guide. One of the things I expect you guys to do is to come here, consume this content, interrogate this content. If you have questions, you can ask, and we can also help to unpack it further. So Startup School is what I'm using. It's a product of the Y Combinator, right? Right. So this is once you log in, short registration, right? You would see the dashboard. This is the homepage dashboard that you will see, right? And they have different courses, right? So course in progress. Again, one of the courses is getting and evaluating startup ideas, and that's what I started with. To say, what are we building? Are we building an internal product, an external product? What demography? As long as there's a pain point, then there's a need to build a new product. And we can also improve on old products. Uber was in the market, but both came into the market to improve on what Uber is doing, right? And also create competition, right? So there is always, what do we build? What are the evaluations? What are the things we'll consider? Now, so these are just short courses, right? How to get and evaluate startup ideas, pivoting out of a tap pit idea. So an idea that is really not going to solve the problem that you hope it to solve. Instead of spending more time and resources digging into it, you can easily pivot. All right. There are many products that we're using today that is a function of a pivot or a decision of a pivot, that the founders thought about, and they pivoted in a different direction, and we have the product that we're building. If you speak to most founders, the product that is in the market that is doing the most well are not the same products that they started with, or that's not their first product idea that they started with. All right, so don't be scared to pivot. Don't be scared to let it go and start all over again. Right, as a founder. How to get a product, how to get startup ideas. These are short videos that you can watch. You can jot things down, and there are a bit of assessment here and there that you can take. That's the first module. The second, deciding to start a startup, the first module. The second module is getting and evaluating a startup idea. Then the third module is building a founding team. Now, somebody asked the questions to say, are we going to get everybody that we need in the cohort, right? And as somebody that has built multiple products over a period of time, I can tell you that there's no team, not even in Amazon, not even in Twitter or X, not even in Tesla, have the complete set of talents that they need. No team, right? You are always missing a front-end developer. You're always missing an extra back-end developer. You're always needing someone to interpret the data better. Do you understand? So the idea is to work within the limitations that you have to create, the product that you're building. Because there's going to, if you see those limitations as limitations, they are going to stop you from doing what you need to do. But if you see those limitations as ideas that you need to innovate around, right, then you would create a fantastic experience and you create a fantastic product. All of us in the product world, in the tech world, we are always innovating around limitations. So if you don't have, a back-end developer, what do you do? If you don't have a front-end developer, what do you do? If you don't have a digital marketer, what do you do? You continue building your product if you don't have a digital marketer, for example, because digital marketing comes further along the product lifecycle stage, right? Which is the go-to-market strategy, right? But you need a product before you think about going to market. So don't stay fixated on we need all the talent, right, and not move, right? So the idea is keep moving, keep innovating around the limitations that you come across. Now, this module will tell you how to be a co-founder, right? The kind of mistakes that kills company and how to avoid them. So these are just short modules. Remember, it's YC Combinator, one of the largest, if not the largest, accelerator programs, and one of the most successful accelerator program in the world. All right, they came together and they put this together. So there's no need for us to reinvent the wheel. This information is already available. Let's take our time, dive into the information, understand what they are saying, and use the nuggets that they've provided for us, right? Things like equity splits, what does that mean, and how to work together. These are, when it comes to product management, when it comes to building a startup, when it comes to being a founder, soft skill sets is more important than technical skills, right? Soft skill is more important than technical skill, because you can hire somebody that has a technical skill, but you need the soft skill to be able to work with people such that you can come together and produce something, right? So soft skill is very important. How to work together, how to respect boundaries, respect people's time. If we say we are meeting by Friday at 10 a.m., don't come online by 11. Be there by 10. Log in by 10 and respect people's time. Talk to people politely, right? These are soft skill sets, right? As we gradually get into the world of disruption and AI is disrupting everything, one of the skill set that's becoming very critical is the skill set called listening. Listening. Because there's disruption, you have to have the ability to listen, to hear the problem, listen to understand what your customers are saying or what their pain point is actually. Because sometimes people are not able to articulate in your own terms what the pain point is. So you have to be able to listen to them beyond the surface. And when we look at the whole disruption around data analysis, data analysis and everything happening in the data space, what are we doing with data? We're listening for the insights that the data is giving us. the data analytics disruption, data science, and data, what we're doing is simply listening to what the data is saying. So when we say we make data-driven decision, it means we listen to the data to make our decision. So listening is a critical skill that every founder, right, every business owner must possess, because you can build anything, but if you're not listening, you build the wrong thing. So how to work together, this kind of soft skill that we need, they're all there. Planning an MVP. An MVP simply mean minimum viable product, right? How to talk to users. So one of the things as a founder, one of the things you should know is that you're building for people. And when you are building for people, you don't build with them outside. You build with them in mind by talking to them regularly. So but how do I talk to my users? And how do I present? Do I do a survey? Do I do interviews? What strategies do I use to talk to my user? Do I solicit for feedback? Right. And those are some of the concepts that was analyzed and broken down in this module. Right. How to build an MVP, what are the priorities, how to prioritize. If I'm building an MVP for, let's say, Bolt, for example, or Uber, one of the first thing I must build is a login page where customers can log in to the platform, right? Another thing is a landing page where they can choose, to book a ride. So what is more important? Is the landing page more important? Is the landing page more important? Is the rate my driver's page more important? Those are things that you have to look at, consider what are most important that will go into the minimum viable product, right? So that's for that, and how to go about it. Then product development lifecycle and the fundamentals, generally speaking, from ideation to scale, what are the different steps of product development lifecycle that you should be aware of. You don't have to be an expert in all of them, but just be aware enough to build a product, enough to be able to follow through with the product. At this stage, after today, the next stage you're going to be in is called ideation. Ideation is simply where people are talking about the problem and postulating ideas around the problem, then narrowing those ideas into 2 or 3 ideas that solve the problem that you're trying to solve. Then picking one of those ideas is called ideation. Picking one of that idea to say, okay, this is what we are going to work on. Then, breaking that idea down to steps of what we should do, doing deep dive research on that idea, getting customer feedback, inputs, market survey, all the survey we need to do on that idea, then talking to product developers to say, okay, this is what I want to build. This is an epic for those of us that are used to the Jira system of working. So this is an epic, or this is a project. So let's use a project. This is a project for linear guys. So this is a project. This is what we want it to look like, and these are the tickets that we want you to be able to execute. Now that goes into the product development lifecycle and everything, and it goes back to testing, rolling out improvement, and that iteration keep going till we roll out the product finally to the market. So there's a 5-stage process for product development life cycle. This module breaks it down. Now, there are 8 modules here, and I'll just run quickly. The last one is launching, and that will be at the end of your 6-month program to be able to launching a product, how to launch, how to launch version 1, how to launch version 2. So it's how to launch again and again, right? There's version 1, there's version 2. The iPhone is on version 16 now, right? In the next couple of months, there'll be possibly 17, right? So how to launch a product, how to get your first customer. I encourage people to get their first customer during customer discovery phase, right? Rather than wait till launch, because when you have a first customer, they are part of your MVP process. So you can give them access to test the product and ask questions as long as they bought into the idea. Now, your first customers, depend on where you are, can be a paying client, or it can be your staff that's working on the projects, right? Because the team that's working on the project, first of all, buys into the project. buys into the solution. They're crazy about the solution enough to want to build it, right? So they are your internal customers, right? So how do I get my first external customer, right? That's a different conversation, but this module breaks that down for you. Then do things that don't scale. Nobody wants to do things that don't scale. Everybody wants to do things that scale. Scale just means increase. You want to move from 1 customer to 100 customers to 1 million customers or users, as the case may be, right? Then growing and monetization, what does that look like? There's something called KPI, key performance index, that you have to be looking at. There is OKRO, right? Objective and key result that you're looking at. OKRs. Those are things that help to prioritize your time, the future you're building. Then the business model and pricing. So for the business that you're building, the product you're building, is it a B2B product? Are you bidding for a business to be able to use, or are you bidding for a business to be able to reach their customers? So there's a B2B product, there's a B2C product, and there is also what we call a B2B2C product. These are all business model, right? B2B is business to business. B2C is business to customers, right? Most of the frontline products are B2C. Then there's the B2B2C. So as a business, we're helping another business reach their customers. So it's B2B2C, right? Then B2B is that you're helping a business solve their business pain points, right? So those are the modules. You come to fundraising. We are not going to be dealing with fundraising for this conversation because the 6 months we're just building from the market, and we hope you can scale it, right? We hope you can sort of scale, right? I don't want to play this video. All right, we hope you can scale it for that period of 6 months, where you grow from at least one customer to at least 100 customers, right? And for those of us that are planning to scale the business or already start the business, what we typically advise is, because multiple people are working on this idea, please don't share. We are advised not to share their dream idea on platforms like this, right? Because if it's an idea that you have been nurturing from when you were 6, 7, or 5, you don't want to share it here because you want to be able to take it to market tomorrow as your own personal idea. It's something you treasure. But for this cohort, what we're expecting is that pick any part of the country you're in or any part of human experience. There are problems that needs to be simplified. There are problems that needs to be solved, right, that we can ideate on and build a solution for. All right. Like I said, fundraising is something that will come into, but you can have the knowledge to just how to start fundraising, how to apply and succeed at Y Combinator. This is for them. Then yeah, there are stories from great founders. So founding story of Facebook and the likes, they're out there. You can use that. So when you are registering for this platform, if you come here, just register as a co-founder, because you are going to be co-founding an idea and building an idea. So register as a co-founder. You have this curriculum for you. Then you can work with this curriculum and give weekly kind of updates, track yourself, but you can finish this in 2 weekends if you put yourself to it, or less, right? Our coordinator will also be following through to make sure that we are on point with our studies. So the idea is not just to come together and we're just building a product. It's a learning curve. Somebody asked what is the need for Bincom during the conversation. For Bincom, what we are building is a team and an individual or a talent that is globally attractive, right? That's global. That's why we're using some of the best resources globally for this program, right? We want you to be able to compete in any geography, whether in the US, Silicon Valley, in Tokyo, Japan, in London, England, in Lagos, Nigeria, or Lagos, Portugal. We want you to be able to compete, right, globally, right? And because that gives you access to more opportunity, you can use this product as part of your CV or part of your portfolio of product that you have worked on before, And that can give you an edge if you're applying for a job. It can give you an edge if you're applying for a visa, all right, that has to do with technology, right? So that's my thoughts. That's my time. I think I've spent more than my allotted time, but I will give some time for questions, right? If we have questions. Yeah. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Moody. In fact, that was really detailed. Really, really detailed. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, so there's room for questions. Please ask your questions, Patrick, Sinap. Any questions for Mr. Moody? Any questions about building ideation, building a team, working together as a team? If there are no questions, just say no questions.
I have a question.
All right, Patrick.
So, Mr. Moody, thanks for the session. For this sort of program, would you recommend, not recommend, probably would you even accommodate, like, taking advantage of, modern, say there are apps and there are new products that sort of help create products from scratch. Some even newcomers, like persons who have no idea about coding, can even use them and get to generate their. And then some, like pre-dev and code, those ones you definitely at some point need them to work with developers. So do you recommend using something like that? Like maybe probably exploring this, especially for the sake of the fact that, let's say we realize we are lacking in one area, say the developer here, just to save time, to cut time, and then you recommend using something like those kind of products?
Okay, so I believe that our host, they will give us the guideline. There are guidelines that have governed around that. But to answer your question from my perspective, because it's a question that I have answered in different fora, there are different tools now that you can build a product in a day, but that defeats the purpose of Last by Bincom, or the purpose of why you are here, because you are trying to learn. So if you just go and use a tool that builds it for you, it defeats the purpose of you learning, because you won't understand the product life cycle, you understand the journey that you need to go through to become a founder, right? To be able to speak to the product. So let me give you an example. When I was in school, when I was growing up in primary school, my parents refused to allow me to use calculator, even though they were using calculator, right? We were forced to use 4-figure tables, read our multiplication tables, and because that give us a better way of thinking, help us to solve complex issues, because we are thinking deeper. By the time we are doing multiplication of 80 times 80, we are thinking deeper. By the time we are using 4-figure table, we are thinking deeper. Now, if they could have just allowed us to use calculator and would have just gone ahead, but we would have gone to school and would have failed, because by the time we come across in life difficult questions, we're like, no, there's no tool here to solve this. So just to be able to get that value, I tell people, plug in, spend time, think about it, focus on the product. That's when you benefit from the purpose. And somebody can ask you tomorrow, what language is your app built on? You should be able to speak to that. Somebody can ask you questions, technical questions and business questions. You should be able to speak to it, because you actually built the product and you didn't just take a shortcut. So no cutting corners. Those are your words. I wouldn't have said it that way, but yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moody.
Yeah.
Patrick, was your question answered exhaustively? All right.
Yes, very well. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Moody. I don't think there are any other questions, right? Thank you so much for your time, for answering us what we called.
Thank you very much, and I wish you guys all the best. Looking to working with everyone here at some point. Build a world-class project, my guys. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Okay. So gradually we come to the end of today's session, right? So just to point something out quickly, one of the best places to get a co-founder is a place like this. All right. So what do I mean a place like this? Hackathons are platforms where you can actually get people who will be interested in volunteering for your program or join your team. All right. So the Bincom hackathon is coming up very soon. The details and dates I do not have yet, but that can be communicated. So it's you can join a Bincom hackathon just to join a team, get to talk with some other techies, especially if you have some key areas you need people to join your team any point in time, just to get talking with them and introducing your team to them and what you are doing or building currently. I think that's a very good place you can easily get startup founders. So we are also trying to talk to other current teams we have in labs at Bincom just to give that information to them so that they can seize that opportunity and get to fill in some spots that they have vacant. So I'm just giving you that information ahead of time. All right. Details of the accounts will be communicated so that you can join as scouts for team members to join your team. And you can even participate in the hackathon if you have time as an individual. It will be something you'd find really, really useful. All right. Are there any other questions before we come to the end of the program or the session today? Any other questions? Any other questions? If there are no other questions, just say no questions.
Yeah, so actually, so I just want to ask that a startup school that all the materials like we need to go through, and after that, like how the process will be start a startup, or like how it will be from the like means from your end, like what will be the next step?
All right.
When-
So thank you. So I was going to get to that. So yeah, so after this section, next steps. All right. First things first is by Monday or latest on Tuesday, an email will be sent out. You will receive an email and maybe a WhatsApp message, right? Or the next steps, which will include an option for either, so it will include options of either the paid or the scholarship for those who will be offered scholarship, or the partners for some of us that are part of one of Bincom's other programs that came through that, right? So that will be the next step. An email will be sent to you and maybe a WhatsApp WhatsApp message. So meaning, please stay glued to your email, right? Check your emails. We'll be sending an email, right? So from there, you choose whatever option and the process. So once you are done with the process of whichever options you choose, right? Then you'll be brought into the Slack channel. Then all that information, the links to the startup school and the other things you need to start doing will be communicated immediately on Slack. So the emails will be sent out on Monday, right? And once you receive the email, so once you receive the email, take the next steps and keep communicating with us. All right. So the channel for communication is open and it will start on Monday. So an email will be sent and we can continue there. Did I answer your question, Sana?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much for your time. So stay tuned on your email. Keep a close watch on your email. We'll be communicating via email with everybody here. All right, thank you so much. Have a great week or weekend. Then a great weekend.
You too. Yeah, thanks. Bye.